Welcome to the Muckster Show. The Muckster Show is brought to you by Kill Time Productions. Music and graphics provided by If You Know, You Know. And now here's the man himself, Muckster.
Did I get old? When did everything change? I don't recognize this world, I don't remember this pain. Did time speed up, or did I slow down? When did I get old? It's all behind me now.
Hello there, Giggles. So, 'tis the season still, and I was thinking, there used to be a time in my life when I had this group of, for the sake of argument, let's call them friends. We had a core group of about 10 of us. We'd get together all the time for, have like a card night, game night, whatever. But we always got together for special occasions. I don't want to say holidays because they weren't all days that you got off from work. Some of them were, like 4th of July was always a big one. And that one we always held up at Mary and Larry's because they lived out of town, had a big yard and a swimming pool. But some of the other stuff, like we would do Oscar parties and Super Bowl parties. And a lot of times they were at my house because where I lived before had a fairly big living room and dining room, and they were separated by a large archway, so it was pretty much one big room. Plus, I was always kind of centrally located to everybody. But a lot of times those might be held at someone else's house. But the one party of the year that I always hosted, and it's the reason we're gathered here today, because again, it is the season, was New Year's. Now, the thing I was thinking about with New Year's is, and actually, the party's New Year's Eve. But anyway, I think most anywhere you go, depending on your location or perhaps ethnicity, everybody has a food that is considered, you have to eat it on New Year's to get luck for the rest of the year. Now, around here, that food is pork and sauerkraut. Now, as some of you may know, I do not I do not eat any kind of cooked cabbage, whether it's boiled cabbage or fried or sauerkraut. But I always hosted New Year's, so I made the pork and sauerkraut. Now, in case anybody wants to know how you should make pork and sauerkraut, what I would do, let's say this week, New Year's Eve would be Wednesday, right? Tuesday, I'd get a roaster and I'd get store-bought sauerkraut, bags, not cans. I think the brand name I always got was called like Snow Floss or maybe Slow Claw, Snow Claw, something like that. But it was a bag. Get a couple of those bags of sauerkraut. And the pork I used to like to get, I think they usually call them like country style. It'd be the short, meaty ones with a bone in them. And I'd get that pork and I'd put the pork in with the sauerkraut and put some garlic and onion in there and a little bit of brown sugar, which a lot of people think is blasphemy. But so, like if it was this week, all day Tuesday, I'd have that in the oven, great big roaster of it. at least like 8 hours. And at the end of the day, I'd take that out of the oven. And if you could reach in there, either with your fingers or tongs, and you get the bone from one of those pieces of pork, if you'd pull it and it would just slide out real easy, and you'd look at it, and that bone was totally clean, you knew it was cooked good. So then I'd take all the bones out and break the pork up, and it would set overnight. I'd usually put it out in my laundry room because in the wintertime, that's pretty much a second refrigerator. Take it out the next day, throw it back in the oven, and after it'd be in there for about 4 hours or so, I'd add in some kibasi, and it would cook and cook. And everybody'd come to the house usually, I think, around 8 p.m. or so, and we'd sit and play cards or whatever. And yeah, you'd have your snacks, your chips and dip and cheese platter, whatever. Then usually, like say around 10 o'clock, a couple hours before midnight, I'd throw hot dogs in the sauerkraut because you don't want to put your hot dogs in too early because then they get all like shriveled up and ugly. And then midnight come around and we'd watch the ball drop and then we'd eat. Now the thing about this whole story is, if you were paying any attention whatsoever, remember I do not eat sauerkraut. I do not like sauerkraut. I am the black sheep of my family because of it. Everybody else has their good hunky roots. Even uh, even my nieces and nephews, man, they're like 3 years old and they've eaten sauerkraut. Not me, can't stand it. But everybody loved my sauerkraut. I don't know why, because I certainly couldn't taste it and decide if I was putting enough garlic in or too much brown sugar. They all loved my sauerkraut. I didn't eat sauerkraut. Now I would eat the pork out of it if there's big chunk, and of course the kibasi and hot dogs and stuff. So it wasn't like I couldn't stand that the stuff was cooked in the sauerkraut. I do. And now, just in case, some of you might think, well, people were just being polite. They were just saying, "Oh yeah, this is good," and then they'd go and spit it out. No, anybody who'd think that never met my friends or family. They wouldn't do that. They would say, "Oh my God, this tastes like crap. You're never cooking this again." But anyway, that's pretty much my New Year's Eve story. Um, that's all I got. Thanks for stopping in. And I think just for the hell of it, I'm going to shut this down and I'm going to start again if anybody wants to join me and go live for a little while. What do you think? But other than that, as they say in Germany, hasta la vista.
Three guys in a little room, just a beat and a plan. Not much money, not much time, but we're doing the best we can. But we're doing the best we can.